see you. We might have Bonnie wander through occasionally. We'll enjoy my Queen Bonbon. For this class, we're going to have the theme of just being enough. So for the pranayama, we're going to do a Dirga pranayama, which is that 3-part breath. It's really grounding. Even though this practice is, it's got quite a bit of movement to it, quite a bit of flow. You get to take it at your own pace. You get to set, funny bud, you get to set the pace here. And you are enough. It is, even though there is this large movement that we're going to be doing, some forwards and some backs and things like that, I want you to still consider how grounded you can be even within that movement that you have. So again, those are kind of the things that I'm working with right now. Grounding, and I am enough, this is enough. And in that repetition, in those things that you do multiple times, realizing that there's still something to discover within it. You don't have to necessarily go searching the world to find something. You're enough. Your practice is enough. Allow yourself to kind of drop into some of that groundedness if that's accessible to you. And of course, if none of this resonates with you, then find what does and find something that allows you to be present in your body and in your breath. However that shows up for you, that is going to be the right practice for you. And that means not listening to me, it means listening to yourself. Allow me to guide you if that's comfortable. And let's begin. So we're going to start in a seated posture. I'm on top of a blanket because I think that feels pretty nice. And just any way that helps you feel like you're pretty well supported. So give yourself just a little bit of, movement, wiggle jiggles, whatever you need. Adjust your ponytails, adjust your waistbands, do all those things. And allow yourself just a freeing release of your breath. No expectations. If you made a sound or you don't, this is not something where it's like, everyone make a big sound. Like, just let go of the breath, whatever that is right now. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's big. Just don't worry about forcing it too much. And then if it's comfortable for your eyes to close, just let the eyelids drop close and start to acknowledge the breath in the way that it is. And as you've all practiced for some time, you might naturally see yourself dropping into a deeper breath, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need to hold yourself in one way or the other. You don't have to try to keep a breath that is less mindful. Just allow the breath to be. Just let yourself be in observance to that which already exists. And again, if the concept of grounding and being enough is something that speaks to you, notice that the breath just always happens to be there for you. The fact that you are here is simply enough for the breath to be. And as you start to notice that breath, do note that maybe it's starting to become a little bit larger in the inhales and the exhales. And without changing too much about the breath itself right now, just imagine that if you have a sense of ease in your breath, that sense of ease is kind of going out a little bit more through the physical body. Impossibly as though the breath could go down to the hips and rise back up. Impossibly as though the breath could go all the way down to the thighs. And then soften back up. As though the breath could go down to the knees. And slowly escaping back up. As though the breath could go down to the shins. Soften its way back up. As though the breath could go down to the ankles. Soften the way back up. As though the breath could go all the way down through the feet to the tips of the toes and on the way back up. And then if you're imagining that breath coming from kind of the center of your body, maybe your heart space, maybe a little bit lower in the belly area. This is up to you to understand where that is for you. I'm not going to tell you where you feel it. I know where I do. I'm going to kind of take the breath in a different direction as though you're bringing that ease if it happens to exist at different spots. So as you breathe from wherever that generally central region that you notice, as you breathe in, as though the breath could go up to your collarbone. And then as though the breath just escaped nice and slow. As though the breath could rise up to the top of your neck, nice and easy, softening the back of the neck and release. As though the breath could go all the way up to your cheekbones. And then softening the jaw, the cheeks, and the tongue, and like that. And then as though the breath could go all the way up past the ears to your crown. And then back. And then simply return back to observance. If you'd like to just continue here in this observance, this kind of pranayama of just being present with yourself, you can stay right there. And if you want to join me instead of in a Dirga pranayama, this is that 3-part breath, that full, complete breath, then follow along with me if you'd like. And of course, you can leave your hands resting wherever you are, or if it helps you feel more grounded in the body, perhaps placing your hands somewhere on your torso, hand on heart, one on belly, both on belly again. You have full autonomy here, and you can listen to yourself as your own best teacher. And if you're following in line with me, when you're ready, as you breathe in, feel the breath come to the chest, mid-belly, all the way down to the deep low belly. And on the exhale, reverse that path, starting to feel the low belly softly draw in, the midsection come in, and even the chest soften down. Allow the shoulders to relax. And then again, breathing in through the top of the chest, like the collarbones inflate through the midsection, all the way down, feeling your waistline in all directions. And then on your exhale, slowly from the bottom, mid, top as you release the top of your shoulders. And then again, breathing in from the top, middle, bottom, full capacity. And then on your exhale, let it go, allowing the bottom to soften in, mid, top. Allow yourself several more of these breaths, or again, any other breath that suits you at this time. If you find the mind wandering, it's fine, it's part of the game. Just bring it on back to the observance of the breath. That it is enough that you are enough. And then finish out whatever round of breath you happen to be on. And of course, if you need more, take it. And then just return back to something that's perhaps a little bit more natural. If you want to keep that depth of breath throughout this practice, that's something you can return to. And then if your eyes are closed, when you're ready, simply blink them open. If you're seated with your legs crossed, feel free to cross them out the other direction. We're going to stay with you where you are. We're going to do a little bit of some seated twist. We're going to move into the more active part of our practice. On an inhale, sweep the fingertips up, send the gaze up, let the shoulders drop. It means you don't have to touch your hands. Exhale, twist to the right so that the left hand touches the right thigh. The opposite hand is behind you, or if you want to feel a little bit more groundedness, maybe even hand to low back. As you breathe up, feel the spine rise up. Allow the chin to soften down in case it was going skyward on your exhales. Maybe a little bit more of a twist, a tiny bit of resistance of wherever the hands happen to be touching. Notice if the tongue is pressing anywhere and just see if you can let it go. Relax the lips. When you're ready, inhale, come back to center, float the fingertips up. Again, let the shoulders drop. So again, maybe not the hands touching, maybe they do. Exhale, twist to the other side. Same but different. I can already feel this like making my tummy make sounds. So hopefully this mic is not picking it up. It's so bizarre. And then the same thing here, right? So you're gonna lift up through the crown of your head. Notice if the chin decided to come up and just gently draw it in. So it's like the actual crown is lifting. Slight resistance on your exhales. And then we're gonna take these twists and just a little bit more synced with your breath, whatever it happens to be. So inhale, lift up. Inflating all the way, exhale, twist. And then at the end of that breath and the inhale, let that kind of spinning back to center, fingertips lift. And then exhale to the other side. We're gonna do that just once more on both sides. And you might be using an Ujjayi pranayama now, if that's a part of it, just constricting the back of the throat, the oceanic breath. All right, and then when you're ready, inhale, come back to center. Fingertips lift, and on the exhale, draw the palms together, draw the thumbs to the heart space. Again, maybe this is where your breath came from, maybe not. And then just release the hands somewhere it's comfortable, and you're just gonna roll the your left ear to your left shoulder. Don't have to use any activity with the hand, and all you're gonna do is just gently drift the chin down toward the chest, and then just drift it over onto the left side again. And this time maybe let the chin kind of point skyward a little bit, and then soften back down. And then find whatever kind of breath movement works with you here. So for me, I really like the inhale as I come out, and the exhale as I drop my chin down, but maybe you feel differently. And maybe even just explore one way or the other. So no real use of the hands, just allowing yourself to be, because you're enough. And then when you're comfortable, when you've got the ear kind of draped over the shoulder again, take the left fingertips, push the head up, give yourself a little bit of a break, and then tip your head over onto the right side and do that same thing. And if you need a little more time, take it. So start to drop the chin down, just taking these gentle, I wouldn't even say they're half circles. They're more like quarter circles. Maybe moving toward like 35%. Depending on how much it's comfortable for you to tilt your chin up. Just notice, how there might be an experience like when I do that, I feel it on the opposite side of my body. Again, not trying too hard, not trying too much, trying just whatever is enough for you right now, because you are. And then when you feel just about ready, you're going to take the right fingertips to the right side of the head, help your head right back up because your head is really heavy. And then on the inhale, sweep your fingertips toward the sky. Exhale, lean over to the right, left arm overhead. We're going to do some progressive side bends. So on the exhale, tap those fingertips to that left shoulder, and then you're going to lean over once again to the right. Take it back up. Lean over to the right. And then once more like that. So you're going to lean over, and you're going to swivel your way all the way to the front until you end up on the other side with the right arm overhead. And then on your exhale, take the fingertips to the shoulder. Lean over again. Take it back up. And again, you've got this other hand on the ground to support you, so you can always use a block if you wanted. Okay, and here's some of that movement again. You're enough, staying grounded, even though lots of movement. You're gonna sweep around to the front, leading with the right fingertips, and the right fingertips come by, the left arm is overhead, and do one time, tap the shoulder. And then you're gonna lean over, and then sweep it all the way around. So again, this is up to you. You've got your own time, you've got your own movement. If maybe that kind of shoulder mobility is feeling right, and you want to do a little bit more of the tapping, you can do that. Or maybe you only want to do some swivels here. And then finish out whatever kind of round you're on. And then as you're ready, you're just going to come to your hands and your knees. If your knees happen to be a little bit chit-chatty or kind of wobbly or any of those things, then, place something underneath them. And then we're going to move into a cow and cat whenever you're ready. So spread your fingertips wide, roll the inner elbows forward. And first we're going to be real slow and mindful with this. So drop the belly, lift up the hips, slide the heart forward, and then jump the chin up. Continue pressing through the hands. Take a deeper breath here. And then on your exhale, again, wherever you feel like that breath comes from in that midsection of your body, you're going to draw the belly button towards the sky and come into your cat pose, pressing through the mat, dropping the crown of the head down, maybe even pressing through the feet. And then on your inhale, swoop your heart forward. And exhale, really nice full breath here. And then I invite you to find your rhythm of breath and movement as you transition between these two postures, and maybe even syncing up kind of like the most full moments and the most empty moments with the peak of each one of these poses. Don't have to, but it's kind of a fun game to see if you can get those things to sync up nicely. And then if you'd like, because we just did a fair amount of side body, you might choose to take some C curves. So taking your cow and cat laterally instead of is this your sagittal plane, front and back? And then, as you're ready, there is no rush. You're going to make your way to a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes and then send your hips up and back. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a pedal. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that those ankle cracks are coming through because my word. Move through the jaw, move through the shoulders, maybe finding a bob to the head. And has absolutely no impact on your presence of mind, how far away or close your heels are to the ground, how straight your knees are in this very specialized posture. Just be present with how your body is and how the breath moves within the body here. Allow there to be space between the shoulders and the bottoms of the ears. Maybe even finding a soft movement to the neck. And then as you're ready, bend your knees as much as you need. You're going to start to walk the hands back to the back of the mat until you're in a forward fold at the back of your mat. So allow the knees to have some kind of a bend here rather than super straight, even if you know your body does move in that shape. And then we're just going to take 3 halfway lifts here. So you might choose to take hands to shins or thighs. But when you're ready, you might be to the ground. Inhale, lift up halfway, find resistance, draw the shoulders back. Feel like the head is moving forward, like when we were doing those seated twists, really that intense. Exhale, forward fold, maybe let the belly rest on the thighs. I'm gonna be doing that. 2 more times, inhale. Press the finger, the shoulders back, low belly draws up. Crown of head comes forward, exhale, let it back down. And then a 3rd time, just like that. Press the fingertips somewhere. Deep full breath in, exhale. Let it come back down. And then you're gonna kind of creep your way back to your downward facing dog. And if you feel pretty confident in your distance, maybe stay here, maybe you're like me and you just kind of want to check, rise to your toes, come to the top of your plank pose. Notice if you need to, or want to rather, adjust your hands. I am gonna adjust my hands about an inch. And then send your hips up and back to your downward facing dog. Noticing your newfound distance, length, and maybe sensation of feeling grounded. On an inhale, lift up the right leg toward the ceiling, bend the knee, open up through the hip, and then just take a couple circles in one direction. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, take them in the other direction. Just finding a little bit of lubrication and release the foot down to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg, it lifts up, same diff. Bend the knee, open the hips, take a circle or 2 in one way. And then in the other. Re-straighten, set the foot back down. Rise to your toes, roll to the top of a plank pose, and the knees up or down. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat, all the way to the ground. Take the hands on either side of you. And you're gonna tense your fingers, spider fingers. We're gonna do backwards breath cobra here. Flare through the toes, maybe even, like wiggle the legs back a little bit further. Sometimes close it in the way, sometimes body parts do. Roll the shoulders up and back. Inhale, stay here with the chin down. Feel the belly press against the mat. And then on your exhale, lift up to the back of the heart, let the forehead drop. And then inhale, unfurl, lift up, press the fingers, tops of toes, exhale. Wave it all the way back down, letting the chin or the forehead come down, whichever you prefer. Inhale here. Feel that resistance, press the tops of the feet, exhale, lift up to the back of the heart. And then on your inhale, inflate all the way up. Again, maybe feeling like the breath could go to impossible places, like the crown of your head. Exhale, take it all the way back down. One more time as you like, if you like. And then when you're ready, take your hands back in close to you. Press to a child's pose. Knees wider or closer together. Really active child's pose. So arms are outstretched. Maybe the elbows come away from the ground. And if you want a little bit more, just kind of claw at the mat with your fingertips. And then soften the shoulders away from the ears, not just like down the back, but as though you're wrapping the shoulder blades like down and around your body. So you might think about instead, maybe this is easier to understand, your elbows are kind of pointing down toward the ground. Again, it's not a confident thing. It's just kind of. And then when you're ready, soften into a more relaxed child's pose if you took that active one. And then make your way to downward facing dog any way you want to get there. Maybe it's through plank pose, and maybe you've got a vinyasa in your life right now that is speaking to you. And then as you're ready, excuse me, inhale, right leg lifts up. On the exhale, pull the knee toward the nose and then set the foot between the hands. Use the right hand to guide up as much as you want. If you want blocks, maybe bring them in close to you. You're going to drop the back knee down. Anjayanasana. Release the back foot or keep the toes tucked. Inhale, fingertips lift, and then soften through the shoulders. Return back to the breath. And then notice if that breath can kind of keep a little bit of space in the sides of your body, so you're not kind of sitting into your low back. Allow the breath to create that spaciousness. All right, we're going to get into some of that big movement that I was talking about earlier, where we're still going to maintain the idea of being grounded. So your arms are lifted in Anjaneyasana, heart bright. Maybe even you're allowing your throat to be exposed. On your exhale, you're going to take your hands down to the ground, to the blocks. And you're gonna shift the hips back to a half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Allow the right foot to become more flexed. Bow forward as much as you feel comfortable. And then you're going to shift back. Maybe allow the fingertips to lift up, or you can keep your hands still connected to the ground or to your blocks. So on your exhale, as you're ready, same thing. Hands come down, connecting to whatever feels right. All right, so you're gonna continue to make this movement forward and up, whether your hands are down. And then also, if you want, an option is to just sweep the arms back as you tilt forward into your Ardha Hanumanasana. These are just simply options, still staying with that idea, being grounded. You've still got quite a bit of your body touching the ground here. And knowing that you are enough. All right, and then whenever you come back down into that half splits, do make sure your hands connect with something. Rebend into the front knee. We're going to come into a low lunge, tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee, so you're in a slow lunge, and then find just a little bit of a pulse through the back toes, kind of pressing off as though if you just were able to like launch forward, because we're going to. So again, some of those big movements, but staying grounded. I'm going to choose to use my blocks here. You don't have to. But I'm going to pick up my blocks and kind of reach my hands forward a little bit. I've got the second height. I really like that one. And then as you're still pulsing this back foot, on an exhale, again, low belly draws in. You're going to shift forward, standing splits. And you know, you're enough. Your standing splits don't have to be like a 180-degree situation. In your standing splits, inhale, lift up halfway. And then on your exhale, surrender the heart down to the leg. Again, allowing yourself to experience this grounded situation. Even if you're someone who like, you know, you want to take your hands away from blocks and grab the leg, you're still grounded. You still have your gaze downward. You're still pulling up the energy of the earth. All right, and then bend to the right knee if it is straight. Step the left leg all the way back, low lunge. Drop the back knee down, Anjaneyasana. Once again, lift up. You know what's going to go on here. Okay, on your exhale, come back to your Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits, bow forward. Come forward, low lunge, lift up the back knee. Press forward, launch off the back foot, standing splits. As you're ready, step the back leg all the way back, low lunge. Drop the back knee. Take your Anjane, arms lifted or hands to hips or to the thigh. Exhale, hands come down. Come back to that Ardha Hanumanasana, that half splits. Shift forward. Come back to the low lunge, lift up the back knee. And then just one more time into that standing splits. Are enough. Allow yourself to bow to the self. And then just soften the left foot next to the right. And allow yourself a very soft forward fold. You might choose to keep your hands, you know, just drifting or on your blocks, or maybe take something like elbows together. Return to the breath. Return to that which continues to stay with you, because you are enough. And then if you took a grip, release the fingertips. We're going to take those halfway lifts again 3 times. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips presses something. Heart reaches forward. Exhale. Again, halfway lift. Exhale, let go. And then a 3rd time, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. All right, for coming up on our way up, take your hands to the hips. Elbows toward the sky, roll the shoulders on your back, press to the feet, and come all the way up. Release the arms alongside the body. Tadasana, palms facing forward if that is comfortable. If not, palms facing the body is perfectly fine. Press through the feet. Lift up through the crown of the head, soften the back of the neck. Notice where the breath radiates from. And then as you're ready, inhale, sweep fingertips up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, arms can be wide through heart center. Maybe you've got another variation. Come all the way down, forward fold. Just one time, halfway lift, reach the heart forward. Exhale to fold. Step back to a top of a plank pose, or if you prefer, just go straight back to a downward facing dog. But if you're with me, on the exhale, shift forward, knees up or down, lower to or towards your mat. Untuck your toes. Take a back bend of your choice, cobra, upward facing dog, maybe even locust. And on your exhale, make your way to downward facing dog. Feel free to pass through child's pose as you do so. And once you get there, deep breath in. Soothing release. Strengthening inhale. Release, I am enough. And then in your time, on a breath in, left leg lifts toward the sky. Maybe even lift up the right heel to help yourself out. On the exhale, place the left foot between the hands toward the left thumb. And then as you're ready, soften the back knee to the mat. We're going to take Anjaneyasana once again. Arms lift. Soften to the shoulders. And then again, allowing those breaths to be so big that it feels like you've got a little bit of space between the hips, or a little bit more space, I should say, between the hips and the low ribs. I'm certain each one of you does have that space. I've seen you. And again, notice that even though your heart is lifted, and maybe even your throat is lifted, maybe your chin, maybe your gaze, you are still grounded. You are still secure. And then as you're ready, on an exhale, use that strength, sweep the hands down, maybe use the blocks, or you've got the hands to the ground, taking that half splits, let the left leg get straighter, left toes start to pull up toward the shin. And then as you're ready, you're gonna shift your way forward, arms lift. Allowing the breath in to expand. And then on the exhale, sweeping arms down. Again, maybe choosing to sweep the arms back as you hinge forward. Continue to move with your breath. And just, check in with the knee. If there's any chit chat, that's an important message that you might want to make some adjustments, because there's nothing wrong with your body. The pose needs to be changed to accommodate you. Right, and then as you're ready, allowing the knee to come right back down. You're going to shift your way forward. Again, maybe take your blocks with you if you're doing that, but reach your hands out a little bit further. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee. You're going to give yourself a little bit of a pulse first, allowing that back knee to become straighter. And then on your exhale, when you're ready, you're going to launch forward into your standing splits. And then allow yourself to escape the pose, right? We don't really care about perfection so much. Inhale, halfway lift, kind of break it. And then exhale, hinge forward. We're going to stay here for several breaths. Again, maybe you've got your hands on the block. Maybe you like to do the balancing with you've got your hands to the backs of the calf or some other variation. How can you explore your groundedness and your enoughness? And maybe it is about taking yourself to the edge and being like, yep, I fell, it's awesome. Okay, and now we're gonna do some of that big flow while still maintaining this concept. If it does speak to you, bend the left knee as you allow the right leg to come all the way back. Soften the back knee toward the ground. Again, maybe you want to use your blocks back. Sweep the fingertips up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, make your way into your half splits, however you want to do it. Reach the hands forward, tuck the back toes, lift up that back knee, launch forward, standing splits. Bend through the standing knee, give yourself some help here. Stand all the way back, drop the back knee. When you're ready, your low crescent lunge, your Anjaneyasana. And then to your exhale, your half splits. On your inhale, maybe it takes a couple breaths to get there, moving carefully, lift up the back knee and come forward to your standing splits. We're going to take that little series once more, drop the back foot all the way back. Soften the knee. Low crescent lunge, heart is elevated, hands can do what they like. Exhale, taking your half splits, heart comes down, hands do what they like. Shift forward, taking yourself back to your standing splits. And then step it all the way back. Take your hands, oops, sorry, I skipped a thing. My apologies. You're gonna have to take that standing splits once again. Luckily, I'm enough. And then drop your right foot next to the left. Take that soft forward fold. If you did a ragdoll where you gripped elbows, do it the weird way, or if you know you like clasped your hands, make it strange. Or do it something else entirely. You don't have to mimic what happened on the other side. All right, release the fingertips back down, just letting go of any grip if you took it. 3 halfway lifts. Inhale, halfway lift, offer the heart. Exhale, take it back down. Maybe even thighs toward the belly. Twice more, as is your own tone. Maintaining the roundedness through the feet. And then as you're ready, hands to hips, elbows toward the sky, roll the shoulders on the back, press through the feet. Come on, way up. And then release the arms alongside. Back to mountain pose. Check in with the soles of the feet. Check in with the space where the breath seems to come from. And if you'd like to close your eyes, you can do that. Or if you want to just keep a soft gaze, maybe noticing something in your line of vision that is simply lovely. I bet you could probably find some dozen things. Following the breath. And there's no rush if you don't want to follow the sound of my voice, but you can. Inhale, fingertips lift, take up space. Exhale, forward fold, leading with the heart. Surrender back down. Inhale, halfway lift, offer the heart out. And then exhale to fold. Step back to downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. Take any vinyasa you like. Move as you're ready. And once you do find yourself in that vinyasa, allow yourself a very full breath in. And exhale. Release it. And then take the knees to mat, toes toward each other, hips toward your heels, and then soften into a child's pose. If you prefer an active child's pose, please do so, but otherwise, my invitation is to allow yourself to rest. And then creep your hands in toward you. Come to a seated posture. I'm going to stay on my knees because I find this to be really comfortable with just kind of seated on my feet here. If that is not comfortable for you, take something else. I want to go back to that 3-part breath once again. So again, hand placement if that suits you. If you prefer other kinds of mudra, please go there. And then take a breath in, filling up through the chest, midsection, low belly and waistline. Exhale, retreat. Slowly from the bottom to middle, up to the top. And then 2 more cycles like this. Release that breath control. Return back to the breath that you've been practicing with before. Maybe it is that ujjayi or something a little bit softer. And then as you're ready, you're going to creep your hands forward, coming out of that seated posture and come back to a downward facing dog. All right, we're going to take that flow we did, and we're going to add some things onto it. So we do know there's familiarity, and again, you might find something that is grounded in the familiar. You are enough. Inhale, right leg lifts up. Exhale, place your foot forward toward that right thumb. Release the left knee down. Your Anjaneyasana, allowing the heart and the throat to lift. Maybe the arms come up as well. On your exhale, half splits. Take the hands down toward the ground, your blocks, or maybe swing them back. And then you're going to take the hands forward and we come into that standing splits, lift up. All right, inhale, lift up halfway on those standing splits. We're going to do something fun. We're going to go into a half moon here. So what I find is most comfortable for me, if you've already got it, go for it. But for me, I like to bend both knees a little bit, then take the left hand to the left hip to kind of ease it open, and then allow my standing leg to become straighter. Roll the shoulder back, maybe float the fingertips toward the sky. Get ready, we're going to do it again. So again, my preferred way to do this is to bend both knees, release the left hand down toward the ground or to my block. I'm using a block. Extend the left leg up toward the sky, standing splits. Inhale, lift halfway. We're gonna go to that half moon pose again. So again, I like to bend both knees, kind of crouch down, gain my power through the grounding. Left hand to left hip, peel the hip open. Just a nice encouragement. Allow the legs to be straighter. Reach the left fingertips toward the sky. That is comfortable for me. All right. And then release the left hand down. Again, bending both knees helps. All right, things are gonna get weird. You're gonna tuck the left knee behind the right knee. You're gonna crouch down and then maybe gracefully, maybe not, you're gonna plop onto your bum. All right, and we're gonna take a seated twist. If you're like, this is not happening for me, then extend the left leg out long so that you've got one leg bent instead of two legs bent. Take the left arm around the right knee, take the right fingertips behind you, lift up through the crown of the head, and then exhale, take a twist. So we've already done a twist a little bit like this earlier, where you've got the support of both of your hands. Follow the pace of your breath, follow your heart. All right, if you took the twist into the cervical spine, so your chin is pointing toward the right, you're gonna first point the chin forward. Don't think about it too much. You're gonna spin all the way around, let the legs flip-flop. And then yoga magic, you twist it up on the other side. If you're like, that was stupid, just flip out really, yes. Nice. I can see Alex getting it. All right, left hand behind you, right hand can wrap around the shin. If you've got all kinds of flexi, you might take the elbow to the outside of the thigh, lift up, and then start to twist the other direction, maybe taking that twist into the shin as well. And again, if you're like, this is not okay, extend the bottom leg. All right, this time you're just gonna let the chin come forward. Unleash the legs, and then no funny stuff. You're gonna just come over onto your hands and knees. I like to cross my ankles to come that way. If you've got another path, you can do that. And then we'll take some cow and cat here, move with your own breath. Again, went from all that movement, all that kind of dancey stuff, to simply come back to this movement, the shape that just kind of seems to happen naturally. And again, maybe you're taking some side movement, maybe you've got some other stuff going on. And then as you're ready, active child's pose. Knees are wider or closer together, fingertips reaching forward. Yogi's choice if you want to claw at the mat, but do start to actively, just gently pull the hips toward the heels. Take the tension out of where it doesn't belong. Notice if it shows up in the forehead or something. This is simply child's pose. You're enough. Guarantee you. And then in the time that you're ready, make your way back to your downward facing dog. Again, if you feel like a vinyasa is in your practice at this moment, please take it. And again, you've done this before. Finding exploration within the repetitions, groundingness, finding the beauty where it exists because you are enough. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Surrender the back knee to the mat, maybe capture your blocks and bring them in closer. Anjaneyasana, sweep the fingertips toward the sky, allow the heart to lift. And then on your exhale, your half splits, shift the hips back, hands come down or back, flexing through left toes. Reach the hands forward. We're gonna go into that standing splits, however you wanna get there with the blocks without lift all the way up. One time, lift up halfway. Exhale, find more depth in the standing splits. All right, lift up halfway, and again, we're gonna come into that half moon pose. So bend both knees if this works for you. This time, right hand to right hip. Just a nice encouragement as you open up and extend the legs. Maybe lift up the right fingertips. And you can keep the gaze down, or maybe you start to explore and send it upward. Just remember to stay grounded. And then we're gonna reverse that path, all right? So maybe bending both knees. Again, I like this way. I think it's nice and safe. Releasing the hand down to the ground, standing splits, allowing the chest to come down to the thighs. The right leg lifts up, and maybe even lift up to the inner right thigh, so you can kind of feel like the left thigh bone, like it got longer. Again, impossible, I know, but it's fun. All right, lift up halfway. Let's move into that half moon pose again. Bending through both knees if you like it. Right hand to right hip, encourage it open. Just a little bit. Float the fingertips if you like. Find your breath. And again, if you've got some other kinds of movements here, place with your hands. This is your practice. All right, take the hands back down toward the ground. And then it's gonna get weird, but you've done it before, so maybe not so weird. Again, finding some median repetition. Bend both knees, tuck the right knee behind the left, and then allow your booty to come down to the ground. And again, notice if this is like not great, and then just make your adjustments, maybe even setting that blanket underneath your bum. Right hand to wrap around the left leg. Left fingertips behind, lift up as you twist and gaze over or toward the left shoulder. Sometimes it's easier to access the experience of your heart beating or the intensity of your breath when you create some kind of resistance and compression. You should just notice if that's showing up for you. Doesn't have to. And then if you've got that chin turned slightly over, you're gonna send the chin back first, unravel the legs, and then do your spinaroo and do some yoga magic, or, find your other way. And then the same but different, wrapping the left arm around the leg, or if you prefer, the elbow at the outside, opposite hand behind you. Inhales lengthen you, exhales allow you to find a twist. Was there anything else that you discovered second time around? And then when you're ready, you're gonna unravel in the same way you did before. And how you like it, you're gonna come to the hands and knees. Again, I like to cross at the ankles and roll over my ankles. And then move in through your cow and your cat. Or any other variations that you like. And then when you're ready, child's pose. Again, I suggest an active child's pose here. Kind of doing something where you are attempting, or at least I am attempting, to maintain really active experience of grounding into my mat. And then again, maybe you feel this compression through the body, and the breath is a little bit more noticeable. And if you've taken that active child's pose, do soften in when you're ready, if you're ready. A more easeful child's pose. And then once again, pressing yourself up to seated. If you choose to sit in Vajrasana, as I am, on my knees, or if you've chosen something else. And again, hands to the thighs, somewhere under torso, or any other positioning that you'd like. We're going to take a few rounds of that 3-part breath. If it suits you, begin as you're ready. And then finish out whatever round you're on, return back to the breath you've previously been using, whether it's just a soft inhale and exhale or something with more structure. And in your time, take yourself back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Again, if you need a vinyasa, this is your time. On an inhale, lift the right leg toward the sky. Exhale, step the foot toward the inside of the right hand. This time we're gonna do something slightly different before we get into our flow. Place the weight to the left hand, maybe even using a block here. Right fingertips lift up toward the sky. So you're in a twist, but in a low lunge. All right, stay here. Spin the toes away from you. Razor edge of the left foot. You're in an IT band stretch, so maybe lift the hips high. And then if you're feeling particularly mobile. You might step the right leg back for a kind of a side plank, whether you step the foot behind you, nice kickstand here, stagger the feet, or maybe stack them. All right, and then you're going to, if the right hand is lifted, you're going to bring it back down. If you already have your foot toward the front, you win. If you didn't, step the right foot back to where it was. Drop the back knee. Vinyasa. On your exhale, take your half splits. Reach the hands forward, elevate the back knee, standing splits. Inhale, lift up halfway. Your half moon pose, again, bending both knees and opening up if you'd like. Maybe you've got another way to get there. Okay, here's the fun. If you want, bend the lifted leg back towards your booty. And you're gonna reach the left hand back, maybe to tap it or touch it. One way to make this a little bit more accessible is to bend the standing leg so you can kind of reach back a little bit further, and then you can reapproach the posture. Regardless if your foot touches, regardless if you wiggle on wiggling, you are enough and you are still grounded. And then as you're ready, release the foot back to the half moon pose. Release the left hand back down. Allow the knees to bend as you come back to the standing splits, and then just release the left leg down. Ragdoll. Release the hold of the posture. Return to the breath. And you are still grounded after all of that. If you took a grip, let the fingertips drift down just one time, halfway lift. Allow the heart to come forward, exhale to fold. Hands to hips, elbows toward the sky, with shoulders on the back, press through the feet, come up to standing. And then take your Tadasana, arms back alongside the body. Palms facing outward towards you, whichever feels most appropriate. Notice where the breath is coming from. Things might have shifted in flight. And then as you're ready on an inhale, you're going to take both hands all the way toward the sky. And you're going to lean over to the right, maybe take the right fingertips to the left wrist as you lean. And if you want, you could pick up the left foot and then just kind of swing it behind you. And you get a little kickstand. If that's uncomfortable, then just stay standing. Standed. Lord. Stay as you were. And then release. If you took that kickstand, step the left foot back. You lean over to the left fingertips to the right wrist. And again, standing here or swing the right leg behind you. Little kickstand. Come right back up. And then bring the palms together. Thumbs to the sternum. Release the shoulders back. And notice the places where the hands touch. Where the thumbs are touching your clothing or your skin. And notice what the soles of your feet are in contact with. And then as you are ready, take yourself back to downward facing dog in your time. Add or subtract any posture that you like. So maybe you have sun salutation or something else that you've got in mind. This time is yours. And we've had repetition. You know where we're going. You needn't worry. When you are ready, on an inhale, let the left leg lift up. And on the exhale, step the foot all the way forward. More weight into your right hand, whether it's on the ground or to a block. Left fingertips lift up, low lunge twist. And you know that you can stay here, or you're gonna swivel the toes away from you. Lift the hips for an IT band stretch. Feel free to stay here or step the foot, kickstand behind you. Nice thing here. Stagger or stack the feet. And Vashisthasana, side plank. And then when you are ready, you're going to take the left hand back down, come all the way back. If your left foot is already forward, you win. If it's not, you win too. Step the left foot forward. Surrender the right knee. Anjaneyasana, heart lifts, maybe the arms lift. On the exhale, bow forward, take the hands down or back. Reach yourself forward, standing splits as you're ready. Use your props if you're interested. Inhale, halfway lift. Your transition into half moon pose. Again, maybe bending the knee, stacking up open. And then staying here or playing with that sugarcane pose, bending the right knee so the heel comes back towards your bum. Bend the left knee as you reach back. This will help maybe make a connection. Maybe you start to re-straighten once again. Following the breath. And if you have taken that bind, allow yourself to just let it go. It goes away. Back to your standing splits, maybe bending both knees as you bring the heart back down. Hands are released. Release the right foot down. Surrender into a posture of relative ease in the form of a relaxed forward fold. Release the fingers if you've taken a bind one time, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Hands to hips, elbows up, shoulders on the back, press through the feet, come on up. And return to your Tadasana, or if you prefer, take the hands to the heart. Return to the presence of your breath. Notice again where it feels as though your breath emanates. And then when you're ready, you can keep your eyes closed if you feel that the balance is appropriate. Lift up, right fingertips to left wrist, lean over, and again, maybe swivel one of your legs to the side behind you. And then come right back up, switch on to the other side. This time, lean over to the left. And then as you're ready to return back to hands at heart center. Take a deep breath into the nose. And let it go through the mouth. Soften down the back of the neck. And then maybe once more if that feels right. I am enough. And then in your time, as you're ready, flow yourself back to downward facing dog or simply step back. Move when you are ready. And allow yourself at least one full round of breath. And then come to a child's pose, and I encourage you to take a softer child's pose, maybe even taking your hands more alongside the body to let the shoulders drift. And then slowly begin to press yourself up. And any way you'd like to do this, just come onto your back, drawing the knees in toward the chest. So a little bit of a wind relieving pose. So kind of like your child's pose, but upside down. And then in keeping with this theme of child, maybe taking a happy baby if this feels right to you, and you could make this a playful one, extending the legs. You might keep things nice and contained, stern baby. Soften through the jaw and the forehead. And then if you've got any kind of grip on your shins or your feet, release the legs out long, reach the arms up overhead. We're going to take another one of those side body stretches, but on our backs to start to walk the feet over to the right, maybe cross the left ankle over the right ankle, and then take the torso over to the right. You could even take right fingertips to left wrist. So again, kind of mimicking the standing shapes that we did a couple times. And then on an exhale, soften that out, switch it on to the other side. Again, maybe right leg, or ankle rather, comes over the other. Maybe you grip through the wrist. And then come back in. Pull the right knee into your chest, give yourself just a little tiny squeeze here. And then you'll take a supine twist, drawing the right knee to left and the right arm over to the side. And then maybe remove a little bit of your effort. And when you're ready on an exhale, come onto your back, let the right leg drift out long, and then pull the left knee in. And then take that twist in the other direction. It's gonna be different. And then notice if you're holding on to certain places, you could actually let go of and still maintain the posture generally. And as you're ready, you're going to come onto your back. The final posture of this class is Shavasana. So if there's any adjustments you need to make, the lighting in the room you're in, adding clothing, adding props. Set yourself up so that you can come to a place where you can find relative stillness. And this posture is simply being, I am enough. This is enough. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Notice where it comes from. Notice the weight of your body. It may feel heavy, it may feel light. Just notice it. And when it's time, begin to find some movements in the physical body. Roll to one side and pause for a moment. Acknowledge this transition between this practice you've taken for yourself and community on your mat to the practice you're going to share with others. And then with the eyes closed, with a soft gaze, come to a seated posture of your choice. And then maybe in reflection of this practice, take 1 or 2 rounds of that 3-part breath. And return to the breath of your choice, maybe just natural in observation. I'm grounded. I am enough. On an inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Allow the palms to touch above you. And on your exhale, draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought. To your lips for clarity of speech. And then to your heart for clarity of action. Bow your head to your heart and honor humility and gratitude for yourself, for your enoughness, for each other. For this wonderful opportunity to simply be with yourself, to experience the breath in this moment. Thank you so much for sharing part of your practice with me. Thank you for allowing me to guide you. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for making all of this so special. I cannot wait to see you do the practice out off the mat, out in the world. So I send you back in the name of the highest good. Namaste.